coming to you live from the largest British prison in the known universe. It's time for Destiny Down Under.
G'day and welcome to the 219th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. I, as every fucking week, am Log Power Slave, joined by none other than fearless hungover law hobbit, Mylan Games.
You know what makes me sad is that you went by my side when we had some cocky tails. You know, it just reminded me of PAX and
it's sad. It
catching
is
up in
shitty.
person.
Hey? I mean, that and like the
bullying.
fact that we literally live as far as humanly possible away from each other in the same country, which I think a lot of people figure, like, from outside Australia. Like, this is you just walk down the street and go and see Matt. Matt lives like 2,500 kilometers from me. Over the fucking most inhospitable desert on the face of the earth.
Have you ever driven across?
No, I've flown across it. And looked down, and I mean, imagine that most people have. I actually only flown halfway across it. I've never been to Perth, so I went to Uluru and all of that. And
Never been to Uluru.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very big rock. I can confirm.
Can confirm, big rock,
but cool place. But yeah, no, there is a hell of a lot of nothing. Just immense amounts of nothing. But yeah.
It's pretty amazing though. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just loving your country sort of deal. When I drove around Western Australia, when you start getting up north and you got those big drives, just red earthed, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those things because, like, I mean, living where we live, you don't see it, hey, like that.
Nah.
And then you get out into somewhere like that, and you're like, yeah, this is where I'm actually from. And you're like, no, well, I mean, I came here on a boat 2 generations ago. At least in part.
No, all that happens is the fucking Qantas ad plays in your head. I still call Australia home.
And there's little kids just out in the desert, and you're like, who owns these kids that are dressed in white? Is this a cult? No, it's fucking Qantas filming another ad. So how'd you pull up? You didn't pull up particularly well. I watched quite a bit of your stream. I wasn't particularly active because I've been facing a few challenges of my own. So, but it was some of the drawing was horrific. The cocktails looked delicious. How did you find it?
I reckon once a month I have bangers of streams like that, and that was my month's stream where it was just hilarious. Like Danny got home, she was grumpy because she missed her bus or something like that. And she's like, I'm grumpy. And then like we were making cocktails. She gets 2 cocktails in, she, sits at my computer, starts to take over the stream. Like, I then realizes I have no idea what I'm doing. Like,
I mean, that makes 2 of you, but still.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Yeah.
It was really fun. We had the whole kitchen cam set up, so Jugs, and we even had Jugs camera, so not of titties, but of our friend called Jugs, which I can see how that could be misinterpreted.
Yeah. I'm glad you clarified. I wouldn't have even thought twice about it.
We had the Jugs camera.
Jugs cam. Yeah. Were you in a hot tub or? Hey, there's the next one. Hot tub cocktail machine. There you go.
To tell you what. But it was really enjoyable. Maybe I probably shouldn't have drunk that many cocktails, but I think what I would like to do, maybe a Saturday night here, because then it would be Saturday for the US as well.
Yeah.
Maybe get some of the people that don't normally get to see it. And it's just something nice. We had the jazz music on. Making some cocktails. I put a suit on.
Yeah, I was sitting on the lounge watching it on my phone, and Rachel's like, "What the fuck are you watching?" Because all she could hear was the music. Because for whatever, I think you were concentrating on something, so you weren't talking that much. And then someone gave you shit in chat, and you're like, "Fuck off, can't fucking." And she's like, "Oh, it's Matt." I'm like, "Yeah." just losing his shit every 5 minutes while making a cocktail. It was, I don't know. I think it was something different. And I mean, props to you for getting in there and trying your hand at a bit of variety Destiny related content for the fans calendar, which is ultimately
well,
what
this was like, tell me, was this organized by you, or are you just a ringleader on this whole thing?
No, it was my idea. I mean, it was something that obviously bouncing it off Fez and with the help of Keg's Pictionary degree and absolute godhood at graphic design, we kind of did that. But the idea of it is more that like we do these awesome events for like Destiny ANZ stuff, and there's strikes, or I'm sure there'll be something PvP related or whatever. But there's plenty of people that are out there contributing to our community that aren't particularly like invested in that type of sweaty as fuck gameplay, but do great stuff. So I thought, well, if everyone just gets a day of the month that they're the focus of it and they can do whatever they want with it. Like, I mean, you made cocktails. There's guys have done cooking streams. Drew's going to do like Destiny fan fiction, which is a pretty talented writer, so I'm interested to see what that's like. But I mean, obviously, and then we've got Sass being Iron Banner Sweatlord and helping people who normally don't foray into PvP to do that sort of stuff. And I think there's a lot of cool stuff out there. We'll see who else wants to jump in for next month, and we'll just do that and keep the ball rolling. I think we'll end up with a full month. Put it that way.
It was cool.
The irony of it is, I forgot one thing. To put myself on it. Sorry about what everyone else was fucking doing. That I didn't put my own name down. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Here we are.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I'm not on it. I'm just gonna go around. For the first month, I'll go around and just make sure everyone's having a good time. How about that? You didn't need any help, you fucking degenerate. So,
mate, it depends what your definition of help is. I need a lot of help, but sometimes a car crash is entertaining. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's basically this podcast. If you're watching this, you're not watching it to be informed about Destiny shit. No. You're here because we yell at each other, and that's basically the way it works. So,
hey, hold on.
Quick closing question. Quick
closing
question about the cocktails, and then you can ask your question. Okay, so don't forget it.
Okay.
What was your favourite one that you made? Because you gave them Destiny names, didn't you? You made a last word.
Yeah, well, we were in the Destiny category, so we did have a good crack at trying to keep things out Destiny. We made the last word, and we made a paper plane, which we called Sunshot, because it was like an orangey colour.
Okay.
And then we made Boulevardier or something like that.
Boulevardier.
Do you know that one?
No.
Yeah,
no.
It's fancy, mate. I couldn't even pronounce half of the names.
I reckon we could make up a few good Destiny. Like you could just rename known cocktails to Destiny stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
A Negroni is sleeper simulant because it hits hard and you get really bitter about it.
Yeah, we made a Negroni.
Yeah. They're good, eh?
Yeah.
Like they'll blow your head off, but they're good. I love them. I think you get a really bad one, they're horrible, but you could probably see how they could go wrong. But yeah, very good drink.
Ninja came in and he named one.
What was that?
He named it False Promises. A bit like the stream.
What, being in the Destiny category and all? Wonderful, yeah.
That's what we got through, to be honest.
What were you gonna ask?
You know what we also
Sorry.
did? We did exotic gun game with the community.
That dude, I wish Destiny had something like that built into it. It'd be so much fun. It's so dumb fun, hey.
Yeah, I love gun game. So we had everyone print out the same primary exotics, and you just had to get a kill and change to each one in order. And the last one was Rat King. It was just in a Rumble match. It was pretty fun, actually.
It's good. I just wish it had something like that, a bit more, you know, like basically you do anything like that in Destiny at the moment. It's an honesty system. And I don't trust any motherfucker, so...
Yeah.
I mean, Stream keeps you or I honest, but anyone else, I've got no faith. Assassin cheating is second. I know what he's like.
Oh, well, he did.
Jonesy all over it.
We did hide and seek with Danny. So Danny never plays Destiny, right? And we took off the HUD and did hide and seek.
So there was some Destiny content. I mean, maybe like an hour.
Yeah, we played a little bit of Destiny. Yeah, we did a little bit. But there did come a point where it just too smashed. We just gave up.
It's a cocktail night. It was all within terms of service.
She had 2-3 cocktails. She did the drawing game. She ordered a hamburger and then while I'm still streaming, she's on the couch.
I saw the boys shared the clip of Danny, just you're standing in the kitchen making a drink and you're like, look, and she's over there fucking asleep on the lounge. I'm like, there would be a firing squad if I broadcast Rachel asleep on the lounge. Like to Twitch. But to be fair, Danny's account, Twitter account, is basically pictures of you and Billy asleep.
Yeah, true.
So
true.
Revenge is swift. That's fair enough. You were going to ask something you've probably forgotten. What was it?
No, it was easily the best laugh of the whole stream. Did you see my Twitter clip this morning?
Oh, with the camera. Where she
Camera here.
Yeah, go and have a look at it if you haven't seen it already. You might have to scroll back a couple of days on Twitter if you get into this on early next week. But it was it was one of those things where you simultaneously, like, I'm watching you fucking die in the clip, but I know what she's doing, and I just want her to figure it out and stop because she's just making a twit of herself, and I feel bad, but it's also fucking hilarious. Like, no one had helped me if I was in that situation. So, you know.
I know.
It's kind of like, I want to laugh and I also just want to double face palm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. See, you feel better now? Bit of a laugh?
Yeah.
You want to know what I discovered 2 days ago? That I hold a guitar pick wrong.
How do you hold it?
Oh, this isn't going to be very good for the audio audience, but I've been holding it like that. An autofocus work.
Right. Yeah.
That. So the good news is I'm a little bit unco with it, but now I'm twice as quick as I was fucking 2 days ago. So, because I'm like,
who told you this?
I just been watching YouTube videos because I'm pissed off. I was pissed off because I couldn't do something. And they're like, oh, you know, you've got to be really mindful of your economy of movement. This is why you hold the pick this way. I'm like, oh, well, I've never held it like that. So I've been basically headbutting a brick wall for fucking years. And then I changed and I'm like, I feel really weird. But like, then I go, oh, shit. Like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I can feel it. So anyway, I'll probably still be shit after that. But it was fun. That was what I was doing, that and fucking on the iPad watching fucking guitar videos to find out how shit I am, and watching Matt devolve into an alcoholic mess on my phone. So that was my night last night, and watching a footy. DCP yesterday. Look, they're definitely my favorite Destiny podcast, and I say that on one. Is Briar like your actual dad? Is that could he be your actual dad? Because when you are in a box that is beneath a box that Briar is in, there it is alarming.
The fact that he went and got a Foster's and also a shrimp. That was a deep fried prawn, by the way.
Oh, I couldn't tell. I didn't know. I thought it might have been an Anzac Bicky or.
He told me later. I was like,
it's a shrimp.
I mean, what a legend to do that.
I mean, I
wouldn't even drink. Yeah, we'll get him on. Got to get him on.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I worry about things like that because I know what you and I are like, and it'd be like we're just too boisterous. We just fucking talk over people.
Yeah, a bit like that.
Yeah, maybe there'd be too many alphas. I don't know, but I love it.
Brian
I love him dearly.
survived the gauntlet before, or was I not here? When
You
Brian
weren't
came
here.
on?
It was me and Slothy and Briar, but we had a good time. So we'll
right.
definitely have to do that again in the very near future. And look, I need to pull my finger out and start getting people on again.
Do you know what I was thinking? I was thinking of doing the lazy thing where I was like, I'm just going to tweet out who wants to come on the show.
Yeah, I've done that. I want to see you do that. I want to see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Just fucking see what happens. Who knows?
Yeah.
Might get someone really random and funny, like that's not even from the Destiny world. Someone we don't even know plays Destiny. That they'll be like, you know what? Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Good cast though. Good cast. And I thought, you know, the story's evolved a little bit since we were both very passionate and a little bit forceful, apparently, about our opinions on Lakshmi last week. But I thought you articulated that particularly well yesterday. So credit to you, dude. I think you.
I've had a lot of shower thoughts, and not the sexy time shower thoughts, the actual proper deep thinking shower thoughts.
Mylan Games, alcoholism, and shower thoughts. Here we go.
Where, you know, because I just kept saying, like, because people just kept replying to that original tweet. Every day there was a new reply about Lakshmi, and you could very clearly see two different types of players and how they think. And I was just like, you know what? It's me fucking brother. It's Chris. That's how his brain thinks.
Your analogy. Just run us through that again for the benefit of anyone who missed the DC. I don't know why you would go and listen to it. It's better than this, but it was an incredibly apt analogy. And knowing Chris, and knowing I'm probably more wide like Chris than you are, which is disturbing.
Yeah, you've got a mix of it, but like, so I have a twin brother. And I distinctly remember going through year 12 and like final examinations, and Chris he just understood. Like, I don't know. It's like sassy. It's fucking annoying. And they can't explain it either. Like trigonometry and like calculus and like just gets it. And you'd be like, explain it to me. And they're like, oh, I mean, obviously that goes there. You're like, but why? Why? And then when it came to English, I'd be like, yeah, okay, this is what the director's trying to portray by having this camera angle, or this is a theme, or this is a commentary on life. And he'd be like, no, it's not. I don't see that. And he just couldn't get it. And he got the top mark for our school in his entrance examinations and in the top 1% in the country or some shit like that. But just could not grasp those things. And I'm like, that's sort of what I saw in the community was like, people with my kind of thinking is sort of said, yeah, the writers, I don't see how this can't be a commentary on racism, considering the last 1 to 2 years that we've had when this has probably been written, the last year, about persecution of minorities and how you use fear of a populace to encourage that. Like, that just seems very clear to me. And then there's a whole portion of people like, no, we don't have aliens here, so it can't be. And it's just this very literal interpretation.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I think that like this analogy made me rethink it as well, because I was like, I was of the like, how the fuck could you not? And then I'm like, well, look, you know, if you look at it logically, and that's the way you fucking the cogs turn in your head, then yeah, okay,
yeah. And it's sort of like it's funny because it has the exact opposite. So all the comments I was seeing about that, they were sort of saying, nah, they were trying to be empathetic, right? So I was saying, I'm trying to see it from the perspective of the people in the city, which we can't understand because we have not been at war for centuries with an alien race. But when you put it through the Twitter filter of so many words, what ends up coming out is Lakshmi's in the right, which is not it's not
really what they're saying. Yeah. I think like the thing that we And like, because whenever I think about these sorts of things, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I deliberately try and like shit can my own opinions to like as a check and balance, which is great because I've just got a very noisy inside of my head at all times. But when you think about, you know, it's very easy for us to sit here and go, okay, well, like she's being a bit of a fuckwit to Mithrax, especially in that cut scene this week.
Oh, dude,
like, why can't we punch? Like, I mean,
Titan,
something. Like, I just look. No, that's not on. And it's very easy to sit here and idealistically go, you know, like, no, they're different. They're not. You know, they're a subset of something that you're scared of, but they mean you no harm. And like, it's easier for us to go, oh, well, that's easy. Then they're fine. When you don't live in it, and like you haven't watched your family be killed by some gigantic monstrous captain and stuff. So I think that like the reaction to Lakshmi's character is made very easy by the fact that she's a bit of a bitch about it, for want of a better term, because she's just being an asshole, right? Like if she was operating genuinely out of fear, I think that the story would be way more complex. It'd probably be a lot worse in terms of the dialogue going on. But because she is being such a flog, it's very easy to go, well, you're in the wrong. And I think that might be by design because it seems very, very strong and very deliberate.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, they even use the word demagogue in the fucking lore. And, you know, and coup and that. Yeah. She even says that she leverages the fear of the fallen. Like, it's not even really well, it sort of is hidden because I do think a lot of people reacted to Lakshmi from just what they hear in game. And especially the first couple weeks, it was pretty like mild compared to what was actually being said in the lore tabs.
In the books, yeah.
So it was much easier to be like, no, she's just like looking out for the city, not like trying to manipulate a situation, which, you know, she is. But yeah, so I've had a long, you know, a week of pondering how to, because there was a bunch of other, actually this is something I didn't get to bring up on DCP, because the next rebuttal, so that's the first thing, how I sorted out in my head was like, okay, different way of seeing it. They're actually trying to be empathetic, and also like, if it was me, I get the point. Like, imagine if Danny was killed by Fallen. Yeah, I'm gonna be a bit of a
probably wouldn't be heaps keen on just fucking them moving in next door. Hey, I don't know. It's like, you know, if you got hit by, your mum got hit by a bus, you probably wouldn't be running out to go catch a bus to work every day, would you? I mean, despite the fact that like your mum's not going to get hit by a bus again, and the logic is like, well, it can't really, you know, it's not going to hurt you, but yeah, I think it's like fear is fear, and that's why it's powerful. It's not particularly rational.
Yeah, but the other thing that I got, I wouldn't say attacked. Attacked is too strong of a word, but just, you know how people are on Twitter. You're calling me a dumb cunt and all that, whatever. Oh, Matt, you can't judge people for a video game. And I was like, interesting, because you kill Fallen all the time. And I'm like, well, this is actually a pretty tough topic, right? Because it is interesting. Why the fuck are humans obsessed with entertainment that involves murder?
It's a fucking good question, dude. Because it makes you feel powerful.
I don't know.
I mean it is. Sure. Why do I like PvP in Destiny? Because I know that in the moment that I kill,
you don't feel powerful in PvP ever, dude.
Yeah, I do when I'm in like low skill lobbies. I'm just and then I go and play fucking in Sassy's lobbies and fucking check and balance myself out by
Dunk.
having a boot on my head. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, that's a incredibly deep philosophical topic that.
Yeah, right. So anyway, so someone criticized me because I guess I was taking a jab at people saying Lakshmi's in the right. and
Yep.
saying, basically calling them out as someone who can't forgive. And then I got called out. Well, how can you say that when you kill people, fallen every day? And I didn't get to say this on DCP, but this is my sort of, I've been thinking about this. It's my sort of rebuttal to that. I think there's a difference between, say there's a villain. You can say that that's a good villain. You can watch a Nazi Germany movie and someone plays Hitler, like, fucking hell, that was a good Hitler. They did well playing that villain, or that character was written well, the way that they did all that as well.
Yep.
But there's a difference between that and then saying that your personal morals and ethics align with the villains. So there's a difference between saying Lakshmi character is fantastic because she's encouraging all this conversation. But then if you go on and say, actually, if I agree, if we have minorities whose parents have, killed us, we should be an angry mob and go beat them up in the street.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at that even in like the anti-hero context. You look at someone like fucking Punisher, for example. Everyone loves that shit. But are we all out there fucking vigilante murdering people? Is that the way we want to conduct ourselves? No, I mean, no. you can respect a character without being on the bandwagon of one.
Yeah. And I felt like the comments that I picked out of me YouTube, they were personal ethics that they've aligned with the character, saying, nah, Lakshmi's right. We shouldn't forgive the fallen. Like, they're in the wrong here. They're in our city, sort of deal.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know.
To bring this full circle, though, we need to talk about the Saint cutscene, because that is that is the illustration of someone that we have revered almost, and was this mythical fucking god tier guardian for the entirety of Destiny at this point. To be sort of depicted from the other side of the fence, from the perspective of the fallen as this merciless, unstoppable, evil killing machine with a fucking massive tail.
he was just choking him out, eh?
He was, I don't know. I mean, even the depictions of like him dragging Dreg back into the bubble, there was so much of that dialogue was so heavily loaded with emotion of like this. You can just imagine a helpless, even it was probably a vandal, even just, being dragged into a bubble and killed. And the way that looks to, his fighting unit may have been friends or family or whatever. Who knows? I think that really flips it on its head. And I think that we're probably going to see Saint take that on board a little bit more than he did in the immediate aftermath of that clip, because he kind of just stood there and didn't really say anything. Yeah.
Like I said, when they started doing these ink cutscenes, it came out with
They're
Beyond Light.
Man. Yeah.
And look, they got to be cheap in comparison to the other stuff they produce, because it's just After Effects. It's charcoal sketches with After Effects.
Yeah, but they're beautiful.
So,
and they're like,
they're great.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these are effective storytelling tools, because when you put them together with what's going on this season, people have read the lore each week. You get a little mini in-game cutscene, which is just character models fucking looking at each other. The voiceover is probably the most expensive part, right, of everything.
Maybe.
Well, look, so Felicia says, I say, okay, let me be really devil's advocate. Felicia says, I don't say it's cheaper. Gamma Trap and
it might be more efficient at the very least. More efficient.
Right. On a shoestring budget. Gamma did charcoal stuff and I did After Effects with it. We didn't have voice actors, obviously, but like I'm saying, in comparison to making a fully rendered cutscene with motion cap, it's going to be way more effective for them to do that than anything else.
And look, I'd watch an hour-long film in that style, right?
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know. It's not something I've seen widely used elsewhere. Like, I mean, it's definitely been around a little bit, but I think that it's going to be one of those things that people are going to like start to associate with this kind of stuff and like look forward to it. Like, I mean, we got the one last season with Zavala and Aldrin saving him from the sniper on the hill or in the garden, the assassin. So I think this is going to become part of the, you know, like there'll be a mid-season kind of vignette or whatever you want to call it that gives us this stuff. I think this was the best one by fucking miles. I sat there like, look, I'll be honest. Someone sent this to me before it was in game and there was a leak and they're like, dude, check this out. And I looked at it before I was fucking really understood what it was. So to get to see it in game and the way they presented it, I think just added even more weight. You know, it was basically like Mithrax pulling let me tell you a story that, you know, you're not the only people here who are fucking scared. All right. Yeah. Like, and that's what I took out of it. It's a shame that Lakshmi fucked off before that happened. I think she might have got a little bit out of it if she cared to. I don't know.
No, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah. So,
but all these little pieces come together, I think, to make a much more engaging and cohesive seasonal story. Like, I think it's probably been the best seasonal story. This is not it's hard to, you almost feel like this is a big release. It's not the September release. It's just a season. But I think it's on that. It's close to that. I think this is the formula.
I think in a way, and this isn't a shot
season
at Beyond Light or anything like that. I think for me right now, this is nearly more engaging, right? Because the way Beyond Light, and I know that people get pissed off with the drip feed and then look, it's horses for courses. And if you're not into that sort of thing, then you're not into it and that's fine. But given that Destiny is like an ongoing part of my life that I do 3 days a week and, you know, it's basically regimented. I like that to go in and go, okay, cool. I'm going to get this story mission. That's the first thing I do of the week after reset and then move on. But I also feel like when you get the big DLCs like a Shadowkeep or a Beyond Light, you blast through that fucking story in 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even think about us doing it, me, you, and Keggy on the day Beyond Light came out. We were into second characters by the end of the day, and you know, like if not third characters trying to run through it, and you're kind of like blasting through it to try and get it done, and you don't ever really stop and like sort of assess midway points in the storytelling or think about anyone's motives or think about the depth of what's actually going on. You kind of just, you know, shoulder to the grindstone until you get to the end, you kill Aramis, it's all done. Look, she's frozen into a statue. Cool, I'll fuck off somewhere else and wait for the raid to start. I think with this, because it's stepped out this way, we're having these conversations week on week. And look, I mean, we're atypical in that way because it's a podcast and we do talk about shit, whether there's shit on or not. But I think it's cool. I think it lends itself to like, okay, well, this week is the week where we kind of learn that, you know, Saint maybe isn't quite the fucking cherub that we thought he was. Or at least there's a perspective of Saint that makes him fucking terrifying. And we have a week to digest that and then we see what happens next week. I think in that way it's fucking nuts. I think I've never experienced really anything like it.
I think that the drip-fed content has got a bad rap from all the Twitter people because I actually don't think it's a bad way. Especially this season, I think they've probably got. I think what they've done this season is they've given you lots of opportunities to hear the same thing in a couple different ways. So if you read the written lore, you can go and do that. But if you don't, you know, you might have taken interest in the ink blot, you know, Saint-14's a monster. That might have piqued interest. Or maybe it was the Elixni quarters with the scannables. Or maybe it was just listening to Mithrax, Saint, and Lakshmi. Or maybe it was the hologram. So they've got like all these different mechanisms for
engagement.
Pretty much saying the same thing. And they're all heading in the same direction. So it doesn't really matter where you tune in or tune out. Each week, there's multiple opportunities to sort of realize that Lakshmi is up to something no good. realize that Mithrax wants to be friends and to see a perspective from the Fallen. So I actually think the drip fed story is, my only issue with it is sometimes it feels like they had this nice, beautiful script, and then they just go divide it into 7 or like 12.
Yeah, it does. It suffers from
things just end.
It suffers from
flowing.
exactly the thing that TV series that like made from like a novel or whatever fucking kind of suffer from, where it doesn't feel like there's a distinct written closure point for each episode, right?
Yeah.
And then you're kind of left with this, oh, okay, well, this is kind of like the best spot to end this particular development. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job by any means, because I think that like it's just an inherent part of that kind of fucking storytelling. I was going to say something I forgot, but I do think it's great. Sorry. I think people's expectations of it are a little bit backwards in terms of like, there is a way that you can do this all and do it all in a week. It's just that it isn't at the front of the season, it's at the end. So you don't need to be like, I know that people want to, I just want to get in and blast through all the story and hit fucking 13, 20 and then fuck off to another game. Well, it kind of works the opposite way around. You can blast your way to 13, 20 and then come back in 8 weeks' time and do all the story in one sitting if you felt like it. It's just, maybe you just need to be smarter with the way you use your time if that's really the way you want to play it. I love it the way it is at the moment, though. I wouldn't change it. The other thing, one more lore thing, lore boy, before we, you go.
Lore boy.
Lore boy.
No, I can't remember what I was going to say, to be honest.
The talk about, I know you talked about this on DCP too, but I wanted to talk to you about it. The Aldrin, I've got to stop calling him Aldrin, the Crow sabotage card, where...
Yeah, I was surprised it's got a lot of attention, because they asked me about it before the podcast and I didn't really know anything. Apart from I'd read it and Aldrin, now I'm saying, you fuckhead, your dumbness travels downstream, doesn't it? Shit flows down, doesn't it?
Yeah, that, and I mean, the terrifying thing is I'm impervious to getting it back. Like, you can't make dumb dumber. It's not dividing by 0. Yeah.
Right, so Crow has his like Batman moment, really, where he defends the Elixni camp from an angry mob, and like Batman, he sort of comes out of the shadows and threatens to kill him.
Martha. Sorry.
What was that?
Martha. Why did you say her name? Anyway, moving on. Dumbest plot point ever.
I think people have locked on to saying he might have remembered some of his previous life. I didn't really pick up on that. I see what they're looking at. I see where they're looking at it, but there's a moment where he could have killed the human, and he has a very strong emotion, and I think people are saying, oh, maybe this is him remembering previous life as a Woken.
I think maybe
I see it, but it's pretty subtle.
I think the only thing it really speaks to is the fact that maybe there's a bit of his personality that he's just rediscovering, right? Like, it puts him in a situation where if you haven't read the lore, basically there's a group of kind of like people wanting to go in and fuck up the Elixni shit, just random ragtag scumbags, just want to go and do a bit of spray painting and some beating the shit up of some dregs or something, I suppose.
Well, then they destroyed the ether stores, which is pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, that's all they eat, so a bit of a dick move there. And Aldrin turns up and tells them to fuck off.
We got clarification on what ether is.
What is ether?
It's not quite food for them. It's closer to hormones that make them strong and grow. So they're quite sickly. They're quite sickly without it, but it's not quite food.
Right. Okay. Well.
And that's why they get bigger and grow arms and become Kells if they have plentiful ether.
It's kind of nuts when you think that like all Fallen, if not starved of ether, would just be fucking Taniks, more or less. I can see why people are fucking terrified of them. fair enough. They're pretty big, like twice our size. But, so Crow turns up, gives him a bit of a spray. One of the, they all start to fuck off. One of them sort of tries to be the staunch little Terry Tough cunt, gives him a bit of stick back, spits at his feet, and he fucking...
What did you say? You gonna test me or something like that? Or he's like, I don't. Then he like cocks the fucking.
He cocks the fucking the hand cannon trigger, click, and then they leave. But it says that he feels a stirring. What is it? A stirring of an old emotion or something like that.
Yeah.
Deep
like
within himself. So I imagine that's just maybe it's just like rage, or maybe he's just pissed off with humans being scumbags, right? Like, I mean, he is the prince of the reef, deep down there somewhere, maybe. So, and then the conversation with Glint as he's walking away, Glint's going, "You wouldn't have really shot him, would you?" And he just doesn't answer. So, I mean, I'm fine with a little bit more anti-hero in Crow anyway. I feel like, Cade probably would have shot him.
Have you read you probably haven't. Have you read the card with Mithrax and Shax exchanging war stories?
I have not.
It's fucking
Is it an item description one? Because I find it hard to follow them.
Yeah.
I just get in and read the books.
Yes.
So what's this?
I think it's I actually think it might be the hand cannon from Cruci.
Finite Impactor or the other one, not the Iron Banner
Survivors,
Epitaph.
whatever.
Yeah, right. I've dismantled fucking 20 of them. Never looked at the tab. Anyway, yeah. So what's it about?
Well, it's basically just illustrating that when there's a war, everyone fucking kills everyone, basically. So Mithrax is talking about how many humans he's killed, and Shax talks about how many fallen he killed, and then Shax tells like a warlord story how he just straight up killed humans. And it's brutal. He's like, they were carrying, and I just fucking pulverized them. Because they stole bread.
Man, wow.
In a famine.
Do you think they're doing this sort of stuff deliberately to try and maybe cast because like we've always been the like, oh, the Guardians, the fucking, we're on the side of the light, and the light's good and the bad's bad and evil and dark, and it's just kind of like deliberately smearing everyone in grayness to kind of go, well, maybe none of this had a real point to begin with. Like, it's just where this big giant space ball chose to stop.
Yeah, I think when you pair it with Lakshmi and you compare it to our own lives and how wars start in our place, you've got these political heads or ideologies, and then you send soldiers in who just be soldiers and they do their job. Yeah. That's what the Fallen did, and that's what Shax did, and they commit all these, horrendous things when the people profiting are the Lakshmis.
Makes your skin crawl, doesn't it? I just had a brief moment there of just like fucking deep-seated rage welling up out of nowhere, and I'm going to put a cap on it. Otherwise, it'll be a very angry podcast indeed. All right, let's quickly jump in.
What's new?
Yeah, when's this podcast not fucking angry? You don't have the energy to be angry right now. You're too dusty.
I'm pretty dusty.
And I can't carry that hard. I'm fucking doing my best.
But, we are getting to the time where the Sangria eyes came out. This is what I was like at PAX, remember?
If you go and have a drink right now of Sangria, you'll be exactly in that zone, and everyone else will know the terror of the Thai restaurant that scared me and Chook.
Sangria eyes.
I don't know. I feel like these stories are just every time they get retold, getting more and more. Like, there was a fish and it was fucking 15 feet long. And Mylan killed 10 innocent people at the Thai restaurant because he had too much sangria. What an asshole. All right, we've got Iron Banner returning at Reset. All the guns are in there. Go and get yourself, if you haven't done the quest yet, go and get yourself the sniper rifle. I think it's the pick of the bunch. Wristwalker's kind of like, it's a pretty solid shotgun, but if you can get yourself the sniper with elemental capacitor on it and you run an arc subclass, it is very, 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 very nice. Finite impact of the hand cannon, it's okay. So we've also got the season of the Splicer. What are we calling it?
Hold on.
Contest. What?
At the end of this, can we talk about the firing range podcast as well? Also sort of hosted on DCP. Have you watched it all?
Yes, I've watched probably. I'm halfway through Chris Proctor's bit at the back end, so I've listened to all Kevin's stuff. Man, fuck it, let's talk about it now, because now that you've reminded me of it, I want to talk about it. Incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive. Like, not just from the perspective of the Bungie dudes opening themselves up to kind of being just picked apart on the spot, which is what it felt like.
Yeah,
not in a nasty way. I don't mean that in a nasty way. But also from like Fallout and the guys. Some of the questions are shit that like you could have given me 6 months to sit and just think about, and I wouldn't have articulated them well enough to get the answer that they were after. There was a couple of things that they were just like, were clearly too deep, even for the Bungie guys on the show, and they were like, I don't have to check that, and I imagine they will, and you know I'd love for them to do this again, because I think there's an enormous amount that we can all learn about the way things work, but super fucking impressive. And man, I just like the thing I love most about this is that a lot of the discourse, Destiny discourse, especially when it comes to sandbox shit like abilities and weapons and all that, it's very emotive and people get pissed off. But when you hear people speak like Kevin and Chris, and they come out and they're like me and you, right? The funny thing is they're just people who fucking play Destiny that happen to make Destiny as well. And they come out and they speak to this sort of stuff, and you understand that it's just really they're just there every day trying to solve problems. I think it goes a long way to breaking down a lot of the bullshit barriers and look, the antagonism and stuff that goes on. Admittedly, there's been a bit come out the back of it, but I mean, fucking whatever. What did you think? Have you had a listen to it yet?
I started listening to it. And yeah, of course, I agree with everything you said. Those guys, like the players that were on there, are so knowledgeable. It's almost intimidating. Like
it's one of those things where I'm like, I'd love to get Chris on here because he's an Aussie, right? He works at Bungie. But like, what are we gonna get him to like tell us what the perks actually do that we could just find out by reading the fucking descriptions, because we're so stupid. Right, where they're there going like, I understand what everything does, and I want to know what the specific relationship between these two things is. We're on a different fucking planet.
Yeah, I think our strengths are with making people feel welcome and having a good time.
That's it.
All right.
Oh no, I'm not trying. I don't want to be anything else. I've got Sassy to tell me what perks are good. I don't need to know.
But the interviews we have done with the Bungie guys, we have been pretty good at. We're pretty good at not sticking to a script.
Yeah.
And getting the most out of people about conversations, more probably design conversations rather than numbers and specifics.
Yeah. I think we could have Bungie people on the DDU and not even talk about Destiny.
I reckon we could.
I reckon we could. Like, how did you end up up to that point in your life? And then boom, end it there. But bringing it back to focused to fights. What the fuck?
Fire range. Is it fire range?
Yeah, firing range. For God's sake, fucking hell. Complete mental blank. I was super impressed. I was super, like, they clearly had their notes prepared, and I imagine that, you know, they'd
probably had to go to
Bungie guys beforehand. Yeah. But I hope this is something that we see more of, because like opening lines of dialogue like that are super important. I imagine it is a risk on Bungie's part. And
yeah, but I mean, look what happened with the fucking quick draw.
Oh, the quick draw. And like, fucking honestly, what is it with people who are supremely skilled getting so fucking butthurt about shit like that? Like, if you're that fucking good at the game, you'll find some other way to be better than everyone else. You don't need fucking glitches. Calm down. The end. Like,
it's true.
Like,
Do you know what?
I couldn't completely bite my tongue. I fired out a tweet yesterday that I had one of our mates send back to me and have a good laugh. I won't put him in the shit. But it was it amazes me that people can more or less like build an identity around a game, build a community around a game, friendships around a game, and even a career about a game, and then put themselves in a position where they can tell the people that made the game that they did all that stuff based on that they're an idiot when they want to change it. Like, if you made the game and then you stepped away from it and came back and told them, like, maybe you're doing this wrong, fair enough. But given that you've never had any part in designing any of it and you're just kind of ancillary to it to begin with, maybe just fucking let them do what's in the best interest of the fucking game. Oh, God.
And it was... I see the... Because I don't think it's functionally a huge issue. I think a lot of people got upset with the principle of it. Because a lot of the people at the top want to see a bigger skill gap, and they find that skill gap through those kind of actions of pressing buttons in certain sequences. You know, that's what that looks like, right? Who can fucking mash the buttons in the right order to get the most DPS.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Who can spend the most time learning this particular niche skill to...
And it's not even that, it's actually not even that hard. And there's ways around it too, that you can make it super easy for yourself with macros.
Oh yeah. Look, so I mean, it's something that I looked into doing and did for a bit. So it can't be that fucking hard. Yeah. Or it took me through it. Like
the funny thing is, like, when everyone's saying, oh, they're trying to, because that's what the people got fired up. Oh, they're trying to, because there's a skill gap, it's not a good thing. But the thing is, when I heard the clip, the bit that I heard, he said, it's a word of mouth skill. And so it's not accessible. And that's the bit that I thought he was talking about, which was that it is a bit hidden. Like, so I went over and Googled hot swap, and it's none of your big content creators have made videos on it. Like, how to do videos are like by guys like 5,000 subscribers and stuff. And it's like, I sort of get what he was saying. It's like, you got to be in a Twitch stream and watching the sweat PvEs like fuck around with, you know, this all came with slug shotguns and Deepstone Crypt.
I think
the hot swap for that, and then it sort of spreads. And like you said, like I asked someone, I asked Aura, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah,
so
that was when I learned how to do it with Tanix, like fucking just wailing on the bloody Divinity.
Yeah. So I thought he was saying it's inaccessible because it's so much word of mouth. However, the fucking rebuttal to that would be, yeah, that's fucking Destiny. If Destiny could embody anything, it is a game that is built around word of mouth.
Yeah, and it is. It's kind of a double-edged sword to take that approach, because it's like, well, every DPS, high DPS strat, right, is word of mouth, right? I mean, Bungie doesn't tell people how to beat the bosses in raids, so the solution to the problems of fucking word of mouth.
Because you have to watch a YouTube video, or someone in your clan's got to watch a YouTube video, and then you spread it.
Yeah,
and it spreads like wildfire. It's like Atheon strats.
I think it does speak to how they kind of see something like this, in that, you know, is it an unfair advantage because some people just would genuinely be out there and have no idea that this thing exists, but have the skill level to do it? Maybe. I mean, things like this, week to week, who gives a shit? But when you put it in the context of a raid race, like one team knowing how to do this and the other not, big deal.
Yeah, but the thing is, anyone who's serious about a raid race,
and look,
is likely going to have the players who can do it.
What I would love to see out of this is Destiny get far more extensive in-game tutorials. And maybe that if fucking something like hot swapping exists and is in the game.
But it's not meant to, I think that's the thing. It's not meant to exist.
Yeah, it's true. It's a glitch. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
always in
particularly
games, right?
care.
It's basically an animation cancel, which exists in every game.
Oh, dude. Patching animation cancels in fucking fighting games, there would be a riot. Like, that's half of what they're about.
Yes, I get that. That is a skill is getting quicker at doing stuff. 100%.
Yeah,
but I also don't feel like. At the same time, for Bungie, I almost don't feel like it's worth it. It's not really a hill worth dying on.
In terms of patching stuff like that, and
yeah.
I mean, it's like sword skating. It's like sword skating. Like I've kind of felt like
I guess it's sort of like that. Yeah.
And like for me, like that wasn't even a damage thing necessarily. It didn't impact me really in any way because it's not something that I did, and I know that upset a whole lot of people who like said they were quitting Destiny and then clearly didn't because they were the same people complaining about the quick swap glitch. But I don't know. I feel like there's space for both if they can get the mix of it right. And if there was some way of like disseminating this information more readily, I think that'd be super, super good. I don't know.
I have less of an issue with hot swapping than I do with Titan skating because you could only be a Titan to Titan skate.
Yeah, and fair.
Whereas like, everyone can hot swap.
Yeah, everyone can hot swap. True.
But I think the more of the issue with hot swap is it undermines the perks. I feel like that's more of probably Bungie's issue with it.
And that's what undermines the perks
what they spoke about.
And undermines the encounters.
Yeah, I saw a good rebuttal to the idea that like maybe bosses shouldn't stand so fucking still.
And that, look, it's a long storied history of fucking still standing boss stomping bosses in Destiny. We don't want to upset that. When fucking Tanix flies around, he just stands still when you're meant to shoot him. I don't know. But imagine how fucking annoying shooting Tanix if he was flying around everywhere would be. It felt like shit. And you would be able to get like just running around with a shotgun trying to get near him, just shoot him in the back. I
mean, but Atheon's a good example. He's got a tough crit spot and he fucking runs around like a douchebag. But then what do players do? They put div on him. So it doesn't like there's a solution for that too.
Divinity might be as much of the problem as anything else here. Because the second you've got a div, right? You've got the buff to damage and you've got a fucking static spot the size of a fucking barn door that you need to hit to get a crit. I mean, if I can fucking do it with a shotgun under Atheon's nutsack, like, anyone can do it. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I feel
div is interesting like that. Like,
yeah, it's probably the most encounter breaking. Well, no, it doesn't break encounters. It just kind of makes them a lot easier. Anyway,
how
do we end up here? Just stop yelling at devs. It's silly. Anyway, moving on. All right, but incredible episode. I want to hear more. I can't wait to listen to the rest of it. Actually, it's and I think that both Kevin and Chris gave a like incredibly solid account of themselves, and it's kind of interesting to see that like. You always hear that like the folks at Bungie, of course we play our game, but they're very clearly invested emotionally in it and are playing it. And they're like, when they say something, if this happens to you, it feels like shit because, they're clearly speaking from a place where they've had it happen to them and they've gone, oh, that felt fucking terrible. So,
yeah, you see when Kevin's saying like we're getting hit by the cheaters and the recovs in trials too.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa. I don't know. That was probably the most eye-rolling. But from Kevin's perspective, his take that like we're kind of always balancing the realistic application of something and how anime it feels. And I thought that like anime as a descriptive verb was incredibly apt because when he used the example of Top Tree Dawnblade that is like very, very powerful at the moment and very fast and all that sort of stuff, he's like, yeah, it's well up there in the anime scale.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the interesting thing. how easy they talk about how fucking overpowered Top Tree Dawn is, but it's been like that forever. Why has that never been touched?
Let's use this little segue to talk about. You've played a little bit of PvP, right? I played a little bit just to try and get a feel of what it's like since the anti-stasis
not
patch
really,
came in.
actually. Oh, I've played 3. I've only done my pinnacles,
Yeah,
so
okay. I played a little bit.
I don't think I was frozen once.
Not a lot. Stasis just kind of isn't there. I don't know whether it's people have like felt that they everyone's jumped off it because of the impression of the nerf is greater than it is, or whether they've really done them that dirty and buried them. I don't really have a problem either way. I think that like if they have buried them, that they'll bring them back up at a later point. But I don't know. I mean, it did feel fresher. It did feel. I don't think I got frozen at all. I think I might have been slowed maybe once.
I think the only time I got frozen was to a Hunter's Super.
So the important question: what are we going to complain about next? It's Top Tree Dawn. Kevin's giving it to us. On a platter. We know it's too hot. We know it's Top Tree Dawnblade and 120s.
The only reason Top Tree Dawnblade has not been addressed is because that's what all the fucking sweats use, and they don't complain about it on Twitter.
That's a fair point. The other go and listen to the episode. Go and listen again, but search DCP, find the episode, Firing Range, listen to it yourself, because we're paraphrasing here, and these guys, like, if you were interested in this shit, you deserve to treat yourself to hearing these guys who actually do this work fucking speak about it. The one thing that I took from it is that I think at some point we're going to move away from passive super regeneration, and I'm fine with it.
Right, so you have to be doing something to get it back.
Yeah. I feel like there's just a weird. I can't remember the exact fucking semantics of what was said, but I came away with that distinct impression, and I am kind of for it because I think that it enables a lot of really negative play styles, specifically people just waiting rounds out in trials with Chaos Reach to fucking zap your face off at the end of it with max intellect. I don't know. I think that there's a lot. There's a lot. Just go and listen to it yourselves. Fucking hell. Tweet at us if you want to discuss it.
Here's the thing, right? Because I see people saying about Top Tree Dawn in the chat, and it's true. I feel like they've got all the tools, and it's not maybe saying they're the strongest class. It's more like everything else is just not as good as it, and it just feels like everything needs to have that.
Yeah, but
that little skill mobility, or that little bit of like.
The thing is, the Top Tree Dawnblade is so powerful because it's so fucking fast. Your movement is that fast. If you made every subclass that fast, it would be fucking insane. It'd be too much. You wouldn't like. It needs to be slowed down to bring it back to like. I agree that like part of its draw is the fact that you can do that stuff, but it does feel well over the top. I see Maxi in there fucking professing his love for it. He, of all people, knows how fucking broken it is because he lives there.
I'm gonna start a theory right now.
Okay.
For why they haven't patched it, why they haven't touched it. Did you see how touchy Kevin was when they asked him what the future was for the light subclass abilities?
Yeah,
there has to be changes coming to the light subclasses, similar to what we have with Stasis with aspects. Here's my theory: they're not going to touch Top Tree until that's introduced because that might change the game.
Maybe. I know. Maybe. I'm not going to say no, but I'm also not going to say yes because I don't know. All right, let's read the fucking 12 because it ends on another thing that we need to discuss. Holy shit. All right, so Iron Banner, very good. There's a fashion contest for Season of the Splicer. I'm not sure if this is a new emblem. If anyone's got the previous one, you'll be able to tell me. I think it might be, but it's very pretty, very vibrant, and
I think it is new. Yeah.
as such has no place in my collection, so I will not be going for it. There are some look. I don't want to be too critical, but the Bungie folks have done up a few sort of like mock-up fashion contest entrants. That's just terrible. Make your own luck.
There's some.
Are they throwing off here or?
Well, it looks like a crayon.
Boring warlock. I don't know. The Titan I can kind of get on maybe. Murphy Brown shoulder pads Hunter in a 1980s fucking pantsuit. It's over the top. Very purple warlock. And look, I like this one. Puffy collars on Titans. I'm all for it. That's about it. All right, what else?
You know what I like forget and then remember every now and then?
What?
Dino armor.
I can't wait. I'm going to play the Dino Riders theme song every time I load into a match. You know what I forget about sometimes? Transmog, because it seemed like such a big deal a month ago. Now no one fucking even worries about it.
I told you this. I told everyone
You didn't fucking tell me that. We both fucking went, this is, people will just be pissed off for 10 seconds and then they'll get over it like everything else. It's fucking, we'll be bitching about something else instead of Stasis in 2 weeks because we're all fucking goldfish in the Crucible. We've got no memory. All right, there's a heap of patch notes. Get in there if you want to read them. But the most important thing in a TWAB was this little tease at the very end of this man in a helmet. What do you make of that, Matty?
I know everyone tries to paint me as this massive lore nerd, but the thing is,
I mean,
just
to be
cheat
fair,
and I just copy everyone else.
So you're just going to wait until Bife puts out a good theory and then...
I've already been told. People reckon it's old Chicago. It's already been told to me. It's we got a sneak peek of that armor already in February this year. It's the Witch Queen armor, and people think the greenery in the background looks like old Chicago. It's got a bit of a toxicity sort of theme going on.
Do you think that will be tied to the elemental theme of the next darkness subclass?
Potentially. Is that coming in Witch Queen?
I kind of assumed so. Seems to be the only way we're going to get another 2 darkness subclasses before the end of fucking Destiny 2, right? Because Lightfall's coming up on us big time.
I sort of must have just ignored all that. So we're going to get 2 more subbies, darkness subclasses.
Yeah, this is all information that was disseminated like around Prophecy launch and all that last year when they did the big reveal. I don't know. Now maybe I feel like maybe I'm leaping by saying that we're getting a new subclass every fucking year, but I feel like that's probably fair.
Probably right.
Anyway.
I just can't remember this stuff often.
All right, we're going to open up chat. If there's anything you desperately want us to speak about, we shall, but you will need to write it in there. I don't know. I'm fine with old Chicago. I would like maybe to get another planet back, though. What are you more interested in? Going to more other planets or go more places on Earth?
Oh, let's be honest. Bungie makes amazing environments.
True.
It doesn't matter what.
It doesn't matter where the fuck it is. Did you see
what
the
palette do you want? Just pick a color and hope that color's in the palette. Like, it'll look amazing regardless.
Well, they're definitely like chlorophyllic trees, so that's Earth. Or somewhere else that has that. I don't know. Somewhere that's been
Venus
terraformed.
had lots of green in it. So.
Terraformed. Maybe Venus is back. It's kind of already back. Yeah. You don't reckon? We've got part of it. The Vault. They've already made the textures. They've already made the textures.
How good does Vault look?
Dude, every time you fly into Vault and you get that fucking cutscene at the start that sits at your frames, right? It's just beautiful. But Vogue, look, they've done an incredible job of that, and I can't wait to see. What do you reckon they're going to do next? I know that this is just complete pie in the sky shit, and until there's a few questions for us to answer, if next year, mid next year, they bring back another raid, which raid is it?
They bring back one.
Yeah, like what they've done with
I
Vogue.
honestly think. Wait, are they gonna bring back another one? Or are you just speculating?
I think they will. I think this
You
has
reckon
been
they will?
absurdly well received.
I'm actually surprised how many people haven't played D1. I reckon I've cycled through my whole audience and I'm just pretty much almost D2 only people. Like if I did a poll of my stream, there are so many just only ever started playing in D2.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of nuts, isn't it?
It
I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but that it's still drawing a new audience. But
do a poll. See what your audience looks like next time you're doing a stream. See what you get.
Fuck all three of them. No worries. I don't even know how to do polls in streams, Matt. That's just ancillary garbage that you do.
Have you seen this fucking chant thing?
Chant? What?
People can start a chant.
A chant? What is a chant? How does it work?
Well, I don't know. People just started doing it. Like someone can start it, and then you can just click a button, and it just basically Control C, Control V's, whatever. So you basically just mob mentality. So Felicia started a chant that was just Matt's a boomer or something like that. Matt's a hungover boomer, and then everyone just clicks it, and it just slams it into the chat.
So they've made a feature that just exacerbates bullying or spamming.
Yes.
Yes. Oh man.
Anyway.
Sometimes I don't know why.
And I don't even know how to do it. They won't tell me how to do it. They just keep starting chants.
No, it's good. Don't tell him. No one tell him. All right. Question from.
Hold on. I was going to answer what I was going to bring back.
Yeah.
You know what? I think Crota never really got his time in the sun. I think they could take Then again, sort of fucking Vogue came back with all the same issues that Vogue D1 had. But let's say they give Crota its time. It is a good raid. It's a bit short, but if they take all their experience,
what if they added an encounter to the middle of it, like a new encounter in the middle of Crota?
It's a bit short. But the thing is,
I've heard the opinion that Aura was probably the first person I heard say it, that it'd make an incredible 3-person dungeon.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I think that you could tame it a little bit, and it would be it'd be good. I want Kingsfall bad.
No, it's very heavy.
What, fucking everything hasn't been that heavy since?
I don't know.
Just standing on pads on the ground.
To be honest, I was actually getting famous while you were getting armor in Kingsfall. Thank you very much. That was the pinnacle of my channel. That was the Books of Sorrow. That was my first video took off on YouTube. Orex. I didn't even know you. You're a speckle.
I was a brave little speckle though, and I reached out of my shit at the bottom of the bowl and grabbed onto your coattails, and look at me now, still a fucking speckle of shit, just a very big one. All right, Senshi wants to know, what do you think about the variety of strats people are bringing into the Vault of Glass raid? A combination of strats from OG Destiny 1 and New Age Destiny 2 strats.
Wait, what's the question?
It's very complicated and kind of answers itself. What do you think about the variety of strats people are bringing to the Vault of Glass raid? A combination of strats from OG Destiny 1 and New Age Destiny 2 strats. I think it's good.
I'll tell you what, Zenji,
I think being able to go into
a combination of Destiny 1 and Destiny 2.
And I think that it's good that people are doing that. I feel like there's enough there that it's familiar, and you go, okay, this is the bit of, this is the bit that we do the same thing we always did,
It was a bit predictable, but I was surprised how difficult the Oracle stuff is in Atheon, and it's very satisfying though, because it's rhythm and it's not DPS. Atheon is a good example of not having a boss, stand still, and double slug. It's the communication callouts that I really fucking like. And that's cool when I like seeing challenges where people fail on the comms rather than not having enough DPS.
Yeah, it feels more organic, hey? In terms of like it's more clear cut what you need to do about it.
You feel more cohesive as a team when it requires you to be doing that.
Yep. A little bit more of a lore-based one from Ronaldo here. Do you think this season will end with Mithrax dying to save the Elixni and then being revived by the Traveler as a Guardian?
I was thinking that.
I think that'd be fucking epic.
Dude, okay, listen up.
Okay, here we go. We're going to go, everyone put your fucking cocky tail spin foil hat on for a minute, and then we're going to wrap up because I think Maddie needs to go and spew again by the look of his...
No, spew. I need to be honest, I'm probably going to put the podcast on. I'm going to grind some Destiny because Danny's out and I'm not doing any work today, so I'm going to
Very good.
Get me challenges done.
Get it?
I'm such a sweat lord now. Do you know what? When you start caring about getting that shit done,
it's fucking overwhelming, man.
Bungie knows exactly how much you have to play every week to get that done. It is so fine-tuned. Like, I'm surprised that I'm streaming full fucking time and I've still got challenges left over.
Yeah, you just can't waste any time. I don't know. I'm in the category of I've long since given up on trying to do everything, so it doesn't really matter. All right, tell us about your Mithrax theory.
No, it's not even a theory. It's more of a, if we compare this season to every other season,
yes,
they've improved on the storytelling tenfold. One of the things they always fall flat on, not always, actually, they've slowly been getting better at the season conclusions. We're getting cutscenes, we're getting little twists. Zavala's assassination attempt last season. So it begs the question, what's going to be the twist at the end of this one?
True. Yep.
And think about it this way. It's either going to be Courier Blade transform and Savathoon. You know, the Savathoon song in the city, and it's going to be a resolution that way because that would help tie up the Endless Night.
Yep.
Or they got, I would love him to do. Forgive me, Fallen Mithrax. There's so much stuff. He's almost pining over Guardians. He's like, you guys can do so much more than me, as a sacred splicer. Only I could imagine going through and walking into the Vex network. Do you know what I mean? Like, he wants it so bad.
Maybe, you can want it too bad.
Let Lakshmi kill him.
And then
everyone be outraged and then bring him back. That would fucking blow everyone's socks off.
I'm down. You've sold me on it. And on that note, I think it's time to fuck off. Matthew, where will the lore find people?
What I've been doing, these little stories. Right, so let me take you away. Let me take you to another dimension, reality. Imagine this. You're jumping down deeper into the Templar's well. Bubble in the back. Rift in the front. Double slug shotguns. You press shift W and 1, 2. It's not quick draw. This game is ruined. Oh my God. I'll delete, get rid of the game. Never playing Destiny again. Bye-bye.